Yeah, thank you all for joining, and thanks for participating in the Impact Accelerator so far. Yeah, I really hope that you've found it useful. So far, we've covered AI foundations for the impact sector, we've covered AI for donor reporting, and we've covered AI for content creation and storytelling. So we're going to bring that all together today for this final masterclass, which is called Advanced Workflows. But I wouldn't let that name put you off at all. This isn't going to be anything that's much more complicated than what we've covered before. It's just applying some final stuff to kind of bring it all together. So we'll be learning about how to use knowledge bases. So this is essentially, if you think of your knowledge as an organization, is all of your organization's data, all the reports that you've done, all your kind of workflows, how you do things, your operations. If all of that information makes up your organization's knowledge. And what's really powerful about AI is it can be extremely powerful if it can access that knowledge. But that knowledge first needs to be organized and put into knowledge bases, so you can then point the AI to the right place, so you can access the right kind of information. And then we'll go on to grant applications, so show you how to use AI not only to search for the relevant grants, ones that are actually relevant to your organization, but also for writing proposals. And then finally, how to have AI as a team member. So at the moment, many organizations are trying to use AI, but they're often kind of using it just as a one-off tool. They might use it to answer a question, or they might just use it to generate one particular thing, but they use it and then they leave it. Whereas really where we want to get you to is so that AI isn't just a tool, like a spanner that you reach to every now and then, but we want it to actually be an integral part of your organization. So you can think of it as making AI like a cog of many of the cogs that make up your organization and your systematic processes. Because that's really where AI is most powerful, when it's just getting used repeatedly in the organization. It's got access to all the knowledge of your information and can just streamline your processes on an ongoing basis, not just something that you reach out to every now and then. Welcome, Teddy. Yeah, sorry I lost you on the last one. I was having some technical issues. Yeah, hope you can hear me all well now. Yeah, welcome, Mohammed. We've already just got into the start of it, but I was just quickly covering basically what we covered before, and then how we're leading into today, which is just advanced workflows, and essentially how to make AI not just a tool that you use to every now and then, not just some spanner that you reach to when you need it, but how to make AI actually an integral part of your systems, make it a cog that is part of your overall system that gets used over and over again, has access to your institutional knowledge, isn't something that you're just using sporadically. That's where the real power of AI comes from. And that's why we talk about making AI a team member of your organization, because it becomes an integral part of your system that gets used repeatedly. And that's where the real power is. And that's where you can really get the most use out of it. So what you're going to be learning today is, first of all, knowledge management. So I touched briefly earlier on like knowledge bases, but essentially what I'm trying to get across here is that all of your organization's data, all of your reports, all of the proposals you've written in the past, all of the processes that you follow as an organization, that all makes up your institutional knowledge. This is all the data and information about how your organization runs. Now, we want to make that accessible to AI, because when it's actually accessible to AI, it can actually be utilized to use in processes, to use in writing new proposals, to streamline some of your workflows, and actually be accessible to your organization as a whole. So that's where knowledge management really becomes very important. Then we'll get into grant excellence. You can use AI not only to search for grants, and what's great is that it will search for the most relevant grants. That's something that can be very time consuming, but it can also be used to write proposals based on information it has about your organization. So it can just save you a huge amount of time. It's one of those repetitive tasks that AI can be very powerful for. And then secure collaboration. Like throughout this Impact Accelerator program, we talk about data security a lot, because it's just so important to the CSO space, to the NGO space, where the data is very sensitive. So it's just about using tools that protect your data, and then also managing even visibility within your organization. And then finally, decision support. another thing we always like to emphasize is that you are the final decision maker. The humans within your organization are the experts. But what AI is really great for is supporting those decisions. It can give you summaries that you can use. It can do quality control on data, all those kind of things that AI is very good at, to just give the humans in the loop superpowers. So the current problems that CSOs face is that knowledge is quite segregated. So if you imagine, like within some of your organizations, I bet that some of like the project data, things that are just saved on individual machines, buried in a folder somewhere, not accessible to the broader organization. And you might have some information on certain way you do things, like some of your workflows, let's say, that might just be in people's heads. And that the problem with that is that it means it's not accessible to everyone. So knowledge silos is a big issue, and especially if someone leaves an organization, then that knowledge that they had walks out the door with them. Then repeated efforts. A lot of the workflows within CSOs, NGOs, is quite repetitive. Things like donor reporting, grant applications. You're kind of repeating quite similar tasks over and over again, but it can take a huge amount of time. So it's time that these organizations actually don't tend to have, yet they're having to do these very like repetitive tasks, which just means you're just repeating the same effort over and over again. And then lost institutional memory. This kind of comes back a bit to the knowledge silos, because basically if you've got your information buried in someone's head or buried in a folder somewhere, then if that person leaves, then you can lose that institutional memory. And that really should be an asset for your organization. And then capacity constraints. I'm sure that everyone on this call finds that they're trying to do lots of different tasks at the same time. They just don't have the time to do everything and to do everything well, especially when it comes to things like grant applications and donor reporting. You can end up missing deadlines or producing something that isn't really the quality that you want it to be, just because you don't have the time. So this is where having AI as a team member can come in to support all those things. But what does it mean to have AI as a team member? So really what I mostly want you to take away from this slide is that AI doesn't think for you. It's not meant to replace people within your organization. AI is meant to think with you. It's meant to enhance your capabilities, to mean that you can make better strategic decisions, that you can be more creative, and just get more work done in a more productive way. It's something to enhance your existing workflows. And if you can do it in the right way, it can give everyone within your team superpowers to some extent. So that's by making AI a team member. So let's just get someone else joining.
Recording in progress.
Great. Yeah, welcome everyone that's joining now. We've got started, but don't worry, I don't feel like you've missed out on anything too major, and I will be sharing the recording of this afterwards. So yeah, basically, essentially, to be able to use AI in this way, the most important thing is the data inputs. So when we talk about creating your organizational knowledge base, you want to be thinking how you organize all of your documentation, but also how you get everything into data form. So if you've got information on how you perform certain workflows and that just sits within somebody's head, somebody should really be writing that out into a document, and that should be getting saved somewhere. And you should really be organizing these folders very well. Like you should organize them by different projects. You can organize them by geographic area or time period, however you feel is best to organize your data. But it's very important to have very clean and structured organization of all your data, because the final result is that you're going to be pointing AI to certain parts of that data. So it really helps if you've kept everything very well organized and structured. So what your knowledge base can do. So once you've got all of your information organized and you've got it in knowledge bases, once you allow AI to interact with that, this is where the real power comes from. Because if you think about in the old model, like data sitting buried there in files, if you wanted to go search through a bunch of reports from years ago, it's going to take you a really long time. So a lot of that information actually kind of becomes stagnant and dead, like dead weight. But the power of AI is that it can access all of that information extremely quickly. So you can get instant answers. You can interact with an AI chatbot and ask it questions about certain projects, and it's able to look through all of that information instantly and answer your questions. So that data goes from being kind of like stagnant and dead to actually being accessible for people within your organization. And that means you can reuse excellence. So if you've written an amazing donor report already at some point, and you've written an amazing grant proposal already at some point, then they become part of your institutional knowledge. So when you're then putting donor reports and proposals in the future that are similar, you can reference those old existing ones, and it can basically reuse the quality that you already had within those previous ones. So what you've already done becomes like an asset to your organization, because you're able to reuse it. And then you can have smooth onboarding, because usually when new people come to an organization, like there's a lot of questions around, okay, how do you do things? And again, a lot of time that information is kind of buried somewhere. But if you've got an AI chatbot that you can interact with, anyone who's newly onboarded can ask questions and get answers. So it just smoothed out the whole onboarding process. And then it allows for consistent messaging. So if you think if you're producing donor reports, grant proposals, and like promotional materials over time, you want to kind of have a fairly consistent message that like speaks to the brand or of your organization. That becomes a lot easier if you're using AI, because the AI has access to everything you've done in the past and can keep that consistent messaging over time. And then finally, efficient retrieval, which is kind of similar to instant answers. It just means that you can access information quickly. So an example of that would be us as an organization, ReportsAI. I actually use ReportsAI myself to, if I want to access, say, my US tax number. I don't want to go digging through files to find that. I can just ask the AI chatbot. It already has access to all those files. I can say, what is my EIN number? And it will just pull it for me instantly. So it just saves huge amounts of time. And yeah, so using AI for grant discovery, this image on the left here, that's actually taken from ReportsAI. So ReportsAI already scrapes the web for grants, but what's most powerful is that it can list them by how relevant they are to your organization. Because often that's actually where a lot of the time consuming part comes in, when you've got to dig through grant applications and think, okay, how relevant is actually this to my organization? It can take a lot of reading, etc. Whereas if the AI already knows about your organization, and it can read the grant proposal for you, it can tell you how good of a fit you are just through a fit score. So ReportsAI does that for you. You can see it lists the matching grants, and it can also tell you which ones are a very high fit. And then when it comes to actually applying, which we'll get to on this next page, this is where it can be really powerful using your knowledge base. So where we start with is the structure. So you might upload either like a template that needs to be filled out, or what's called an RFP, which is a request for proposal. So sometimes like grant applications will have a request for a proposal on there. So you can upload that to the AI and then give the AI reference to some of your knowledge base. So the knowledge base is essentially acting as like context that's going to be used to answer the proposal. So it's like you're giving it all the information about your organization that is relevant to answering the proposal. So the kind of stuff that you could point it to within a knowledge base would be like previous proposals that you've written that are similar to this one, or a load of information on a project that's very closely aligned with this proposal. So you could point it to that knowledge base, and then the AI can generate your first draft, because it can take all that context about your organization that's relevant to the proposal, and then it will fill out the proposal for you. But what I like to emphasize is that that is your first draft, because the next stage is where human refinement comes in. Because again, you are the ones with the expertise. You've used the AI as your team member to help you produce a first draft, but then you're going to look through that as the expert and assess which parts have worked well, or where it maybe needs some more information or needs some adjustment. And that's really the power of having like AI within your workflows, because it streamlined that whole first part, get into a draft, but then the human in the loop is going to be the one that defines the final output. So really, this slide comes back to security again. So like we've said many times, like using a platform that keeps your data ownership with you and doesn't train on your data, like a platform like ReportsAI, then you know that your data is secure. But then also, even within a platform, you might want to control who can view certain data. So you might have like role-based access So certain people might only be able to view certain projects because other projects might be private to the broader organization. So you can have things like visibility controls and even like controls over who can edit certain documents, because like I was saying before, your institutional knowledge is an asset. It's an asset that can be used. So you also don't want that asset to be damaged. So you might want to have controls over who can edit what is already in the knowledge base, which is another control just to like protect your data. So yeah, I don't want to spend too much time just talking. I want to get more into practicality. So yeah, essentially what I want to get into today, and I'm going to use ReportsAI to do this, is to show you how to upload documents, how to create a knowledge base and put those documents within a knowledge base, then how to query that knowledge base, so how to use the AI chatbot to speak to that information, and then finally how to generate a proposal that references that data. So let me just change the screen that I'm sharing. And if at this point, if there's any questions, if anyone wants to jump in with questions or anything that hasn't quite made sense so far, then yeah, please jump in. This is meant to be interactive, so don't be afraid to just jump straight in with questions. Just unmute yourself and ask away. Okay, yes, I hope everyone can see that screen. One thing just to quickly to note, which I hope that some of you have already noticed this, but the ReportsAI platform has had an update. It's had a facelift and it's had some amazing new features introduced. We can all thank Mohammed for that. So you can already see that it looks a bit more sleek, but really what's great about this is some of the new functionality, which is extremely powerful. We'll touch on some of it today. But yeah, there's some really great stuff. If we get time at the end, I'll show you how you can turn a report straight into a presentation in an instant, which is something I really like. But first of all, we want to focus on knowledge bases. So what's powerful about this new platform is that you don't just have one knowledge base. So in the old platform, there was just the one knowledge base that was being referenced for your organization. Now, if you come down here to my knowledge base, just like that, you can see that you can have multiple knowledge bases. So what's really powerful about this is that you can group certain information by kind of category or by project or anything like that. So then you can choose what's the most relevant knowledge base to be referencing as context when you're either filling out a certain proposal or if you're asking questions. You really only want to be referencing the knowledge base that's actually relevant to what you're trying to do, right? So you can see here, I've got a few different ones. I've got a safe births program, one for Kenya. I've got a safe births program, one for Tanzania, because maybe they want to you want to split up the project by different geographies. And then Emoja Health is the organization as a whole. So within this demo platform, Emoja Health is the like the NGO, and then the Safe Births Program is a project that Emoja Health implements. So that's the difference in the information there. So I'm going to jump into this Safe Births Program Kenya, just to quickly show you what it looks like. So here you can see there's uploaded documents, you can see the data points. You can add other files if you want to. So let me just show you quickly how you can actually just create a new knowledge base and upload a file to it, just so you can see how that works in practice. But I really encourage you to go do this yourselves because it's really powerful. So you just go see this button up here, create a new knowledge base. And I can make this Safe Births program for Uganda. So I can then choose whether that's just private to certain people within my organization or whether it's like public to this workspace broadly. Create that knowledge base. Okay, so now I've got the knowledge base here, which is empty right now, so I don't have anything in it, but I'm going to add a file, so I can import a file. You see I've got an annual progress report for Uganda, so this is relevant to this particular knowledge base. I'm just going to import that. And you can see it's pulled out 10 main data points from that. I should import it. Cool, that's done. So now I've got a knowledge base that has the information about the Safe Births program in Uganda, and it's its own separate knowledge base. So what's great about having these separate knowledge bases like this is that if I then come to the chatbot at the top here, which would usually just be the name of your organization, and this is top part of the taskbar here. This is an AI chatbot, right? And this operates similar to other tools, like say, for example, ChatGPT. It's a chat interface that operates just like ChatGPT. So you don't really need to have a ChatGPT membership if you've got a ReportsAI membership, because you can just interact with this AI chatbot here, and it can do everything that ChatGPT can do. But what it does in addition is that it has access to your organization's knowledge. So this is really where your institutional knowledge becomes super powerful, because anybody can access it. So rather than it sitting buried within folders, anyone with your organization can access it. So if you see here, you can choose which knowledge bases you want to talk to. So I could choose to select all of these knowledge bases, and then it'll be using all of my institutional knowledge, or I can select particular ones. So if I'm particularly interested in just the Safe Births program in Kenya, then I can just be using that knowledge base. And then you can ask questions, which then become threads here. So one question I've asked already was, what are the main KPIs of the Safe Births program? You see it just answer straight away. It's number of midwives trained, number of kits distributed, and number of clinics renovated. So that's just instant information without having to go dig through documents, right? So that's a really powerful way to use AI to access your institutional knowledge. So this is about efficient information retrieval and just being able to ask questions. You'd even ask something, okay, is the progress in there? See, and it can just respond to you as quick as that based on your information. So this is a really powerful new feature of the platform, because not only can you just question generic knowledge base, you can segregate that data up into separate knowledge bases and interact with it how you want. So what we're doing here at ReportsAI is making your institutional knowledge an actual asset to you, something that actually gets used. That's really powerful. So now what we can do is we can jump to how you would use that for a grant application, because it's like right now we're just asking questions to the knowledge base, but we can also generate grant proposals based on information that's within a particular knowledge base. So you might choose to create knowledge bases that are full of previous proposals that you've written, because that's relevant information to generate other proposals. So you can separate information however you want. But let me just show you. So like search grants here is similar-ish to the old platform, and it lists relevant grants and can list them by the fit score here. So you can list the most relevant ones. But what's great is that you also get a summary at the top. You get how many grants are matching to your organization, which ones are closing soon with deadlines approaching, and you can also see the ones which are the highest fit. So I think that's like super powerful. Then if you was to come here to generate a proposal, you can, this part is for uploading the RFP. So like I was saying before, RFP is request for proposal. So most grants online will have like a document that is the request for proposal, or they might have it as like a template or something like that. This is really like just the information they're requesting from you, like the form. So first part, you would choose that. I've got one for this DRK application. It was the one we were most aligned with. And then you'd go next and see, now it's asking you for proposal details. So you can put instructions here. So it might put something like emphasize the achievements of the person and how it can be scaled for this. And see, you can then choose which knowledge bases are relevant. So I might think that, okay, the Safe Births program, for all of the Safe Births program ones for both Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya are all relevant to this particular application. So maybe I want to select all of those, or maybe I just want to select one. But you basically are getting to choose which knowledge bases you're going to use as context to fill out your proposal. So that's really powerful. Although just quickly, I'm going to go back to the old ReportsAI because I know that there's some changes being made to this new feature on the new platform right now. So let me just, if you click here, if you ever need to go back to what the old platform looked like, you can just revert to the old ReportsAI, see here. And this is just why we're transitioning to the new platform. So you can see the old platform, it looks good, but it's not as snazzy as the new one. Yeah? So we're on generate proposal, and you can see how the old model works. It's very similar, but I'll get onto what the big difference is. So you can upload that template, but in this old platform, you only had the one knowledge base. So you don't have the ability to choose which knowledge bases you're going to use as reference for this application. It's just going to use the knowledge base as a whole because there's only one knowledge base. So someone's just joining. Welcome, Paul. Yeah, so we're just getting into generating grant proposals using the power of AI. So essentially, you can upload the RFP or a template here, and then ReportsAI is going to use everything within your organization's knowledge base, which could be old proposals that you've written, donor reports, information on some of the projects you've been doing. All of that information is going to be used as context to reply to this grant proposal and generate your first draft. So as I was saying, this old platform just uses the one knowledge base, whereas the new one, you can actually choose which knowledge bases you want to use for the application, which is much more powerful. So generate. And what's really powerful about ReportsAI here is that it's taking what it knows about your organization, and it's taking the knowledge base information, and it's taking the RFP, it's extracted all that data, structured it, and then it's going to generate proposals step by step. So it's that context engineering that happens in that stage that allows ReportsAI to take more data input and generate more data output than most generic AI tools can, because most of them would get lost in that pure amount of data. Cool. So you can see that it's generated our first draft for us. It's given the problem statement, it's given the proposed solution, and this is all based on information it had about, okay, what is the Safe Births program? What kind of projects have they worked on in the past? It's able to populate all this for you. And I'm sure you remember from previous masterclasses, but these yellow highlighted parts, this is anywhere where it feels it needs more information or it's made an assumption. And like we always say, the human in the loop, the one with the expertise, is meant to check over these highlighted parts and either add the additional information or confirm the assumption, and just making sure that the human in the loop is always checking over these things. That's why we highlight them in yellow. So we've got a really great first draft there. And then the power of the platform is that you can then edit this how you see fit. You can even use AI to help you do that. If I wanted to just highlight this first section and improve the writing or simplify the language, let's say, just improve the writing. I can use AI to help me even do the edits if I want to. I could give it more information, get it to rewrite, anything like that. So this tool is extremely powerful. Okay, so right, that's all for grant proposal generation. I'm going to jump back to the new ReportsAI. So I just want to stop for a moment here just to ask about questions. So is our knowledge bases making sense? Do you feel like if you logged into ReportsAI right now, do you feel like you feel comfortable to start building your own knowledge bases? Do you have any questions around like what that process looks like? Do you have any questions around how to generate a grant proposal? Are there any grant proposals you're working on right now that maybe you want my help with? Yeah, please just unmute yourselves and ask away, because that's what I'm here for. It's great if you can make the most of the time now, but if there's questions at a later date, then just feel free to email us, or we can arrange another session.
Yeah, Archie, could I add
Yeah, please do.
Thank you so much. I mean, this has been such an interesting session, man. This is really great. I just wanted to add that the AI model that you have at the top in the new Reports AI portal is a bit more generic now. Meaning, of course, you can connect it to like different knowledge bases, but feel free to use it like you would use ChatGPT or Gemini. It is tailor-made for being able to provide help with all your professional tasks. You can ask it to like redraft your email. I mean, the great thing about the whole system is that it has access to knowledge bases that you select or you choose to give it access to. So this is really generic. We are going to also make it able to switch between models. So you would have a little toggle somewhere that would allow you to use Gemini or GPT-5o or DeepSeek or any of those models that are very, really efficient. We're trying to pick up the most efficient models for the tasks that we do in the impact space and then make those available for you through the ReportsAI platform as well. So feel free to experiment with the new portal, chat with it like you would chat with like a normal chat GPT. And if you have any feedbacks or any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mohammed. And yeah, I think what's like so great about this is that yeah, rather than having paying for accounts to Gemini, to ChatGPT, etc., you're gonna have the ability to tab between those different models within Reports AI and interact with them using this chatbot. So it just makes this tool extremely powerful. It's gonna be able to do everything that those tools can do, but then additional stuff as well, things like grant proposals, donor report generation, managing different knowledge bases, task management, all that stuff that we've covered in some of the other masterclasses. So yeah, it's really a super powerful platform. And since we've got some time, I'm going to quickly show you as well one other really amazing new feature of this platform that I really love. So if you just go to report generation, you see this is what the new report generation page looks like. I'm going to add some field notes. So these are some rough field notes. One's an Excel file of beneficiaries reached, then a couple of Word documents. This platform can deal with documents in many different types, whether it's videos, images, voice notes. It can extract information from all of those. So it's super powerful. And then I'm just going to get it to write a narrative report using that data. So select narrative report there and generate. So it's generated this this narrative report. And I think maybe some of you would remember this button up here from the old platform, convert, because you can convert to a text summary. So it'll just be like a brief summary of the document you can maybe send to a manager rather than having to read the whole thing. Or an audio summary, which is super realistic. It's like having your own little analyst there who's already read the document and they're just explaining it to you. This new button, which I get really excited about, is turning it into a presentation, which is amazing because I think so often within the CSO space, the NGO space, you don't necessarily only want the information to be in report format. Sometimes you also need to actually present that report to somebody else. So then you want to quickly turn it into a slide deck. So that you can do here. So and then I can just generate a presentation.
Yeah, and you know this is a draft, so you could basically also like we're going full collaborative now, so you could share this with other people as well, whether internal or external to your organization. You can lock it. I mean, you can do a lot of things now. It's like purely like a collaborative tool. You could literally just share this draft with somebody that is external to your organization, and you can all collaborate on it, add comments, view each other's comments, you know, like you would any normal Google Doc.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful as well. It just makes like collaboration so much easier. So if you've now just produced that first draft, all the users within your organization can make edits on that, leave comments. Yeah, anything that people currently do within like Google Docs is all you're able to do that within Reports AI. Okay, so that presentation is generated. I'm just going to open that. You see, it's produced this presentation just as quickly as that, based on that report. which this blew me away. So I hope that some of you are also blown away, because I was like, this is insane how quickly it's just done that. The executive summary, project objectives, activities implemented. So if you were in a rush to have to present to somebody about a particular report, it's as easy as that to generate a presentation like this, which I just think is amazing. It's just another way that we're just trying to streamline your workflows. So let me just go back to the presentation. We finish this off, and again, please, if there's any questions, just jump in now. So yeah, hoping. Yep, Paul, what did you want to ask? You just want to unmute yourself, Paul. You're still muted, Paul. Paul, you're still on mute if you want to ask something. You should just be able to unmute yourself. I don't have it so that I have control over that. Okay, maybe you put your hand up by accident. But yeah, if you need to ask a question, please just unmute yourself and ask away. So yeah, what I'm hoping you've taken away from today is basically how to use knowledge bases. I'm hoping that after this, you can log into ReportsAI, upload some documents, create a knowledge base, and then start asking it questions. Just have a go at asking it some questions and see how it operates. And then generating draft grant proposals. If you've got any grant proposals that you're currently working on and you need any help, reach out to me. We can jump on a call and even do it together. Always interested to see things that people are working on, like real life examples. And then this is a repeatable workflow that you can use over and over again. So yeah, really just to come into just wrapping up, not just this session, but the Impact Accelerator as a whole. It's really been about, we're trying to build sustainable and scalable CSOs. We're trying to help you be more sustainable and scalable. So that sustainability part comes from capacity, right? We know that funding is not always easy to come by. You don't necessarily have a huge amount of people, but you've got a lot of work that you need to get done. So by integrating AI, we're able to make so many of your workflows so much faster. Like you've seen that with grant proposal generation there, donor report generation there, and even presentation generation, just to save you huge amounts of time so that you can be sustainable. And you can also scale your operations because it allows you to focus on actually implementing the mission of your organization rather than getting distracted by admin tasks like donor reporting, grant applications, and presentations. But the thing is, also what I want to emphasize is that this isn't taking anything away from your organization, because all of these outputs are based on your asset, which is your institutional knowledge. All of the data is your own. So when you want to think about how strong your outputs can be, how strong your donor reports can be, how strong your grant applications can be, how strong your presentations can be, it's all about, well, how strong are your data inputs. So that's where it really becomes important to build your knowledge base, as much information in there as possible, and get the information to be high quality, because then that's the information that the AI is going to be using. So that's how you're going to have really strong outputs out the other side, right? So you just want to kind of slowly build that asset, which is your institutional knowledge. Yeah, so just kind of wrap things up. Like, we want this to be like, it's not going to end today. We want this to be a continue journey for you as you go on to adopt AI. Stay connected, not just with each other, but with us as well. Want to hear how it's going with applying AI. And if there's ever any questions, if there's things that you need help with, we're here to help with that. And what I am going to do, just to wrap up this whole Impact Accelerator, is to send out a survey, which is going to be similar to the pre-program survey that you filled out, just to see how you progressed over the course of this program. And yeah, I just really ask that you please do fill out that survey, because it's really important to us to be able to track your progress over this program. So really appreciate that. Yeah, so thanks for all of being part of this. And again, don't forget to reach out to us for one-on-one sessions, because we're here to answer your questions. We're here to help. And stay connected with us. I want to hear how you're doing. I want to hear how you're applying AI. Please fill out the post-program survey that I'm going to send you. And yeah, thanks all for joining. Is there anything you want to add to that at the end, Mohammed? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. And also, any questions, again, just please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Archie. Thank you, Paul, and thank you all, everyone. I think this has been really interesting. And like I said, 2026, I'm pretty sure many organizations will now be a lot more practical in like leveraging AI to streamline most of their workflows. And we are tackling reporting. Others will be tackling other use cases. We are also like trying to help organizations tackle grant management. So we are going to be pulling out a lot of content to help all of you get practical on how to leverage AI to streamline most of your workflows, whether that's going to be about like how to use ReportsAI or how to use any other tools to streamline your workflow. So let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch on LinkedIn. Let's keep in touch directly as well. You can reach out to us anytime you need. For those of you who didn't get their access to ReportsAI Extended, please feel free to also reach out. I'll be more than happy to make that happen. And yeah, I mean, this has been great. It was a pleasure to be part of this.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mohammed. Yeah, and thank you to everyone, and looking forward to staying in contact and seeing how this journey progresses with applying AI to strengthen your organizations. So yeah, if there's any final questions, just reach out. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up there. And thanks so much for everyone for joining our first Impact Accelerator. Really glad it all went so well, and I really hope you got a lot out of it. I'm going to follow up with all the recordings. So yeah, look out for those. Take care.